Nothing can disturb you if you apply these 10 Buddhist principles. Introduction: the power of inner peace. Have you ever wondered, what if nothing could disturb your peace? What if criticism no longer shook you, challenges no longer scared you, and life's chaos no longer pulled you into suffering? Modern life is an endless cycle of stress, work, family, relationships, and the constant expectations placed upon us by society. Sometimes, it feels like you're running a race without knowing where the finish line is. But imagine if you could face every challenge with a calm, steady mind, untouched by external circumstances. This is not just a distant dream. It is a state of mind you can achieve, and it is exactly what Buddhism teaches us. Buddhism is not just a religion, it is a profound system of thought that helps you discover true peace from within, regardless of what happens around you. These principles do not ask you to abandon your current life or escape reality. Instead, they help you transform how you perceive the world, how you respond to difficulties, and how you maintain serenity even in the middle of life's storms. In this guide, we will explore 10 Buddhist principles that can profoundly change your life. These are not abstract theories but practical methods you can apply immediately to. Heavy checkmark: remain unaffected by criticism and judgment. Heavy checkmark: face challenges without losing your balance. Heavy checkmark: transform envy and resentment into positive motivation. Heavy checkmark: let go of what you cannot control and experience true freedom. Heavy checkmark: live a life filled with gratitude, happiness, and tranquility. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to stay calm even in the most difficult situations? It's not luck, it's mental training. Buddhism has taught these principles for thousands of years, and today, modern science also confirms that these practices can significantly reduce stress, improve focus, and lead to a more meaningful life. The real question is, are you ready to change the way you see life? If your answer is yes, then this guide is for you. Join me on this journey to discover 10 principles that can help you achieve unshakable inner peace. Let's begin. Principle 1. Insults only have power if you give them power. Words, like passing winds, only affect those who resist them. When someone insults us, their words may create ripples in our emotions, but ultimately, we have the choice to let them pass without disturbance. This practice of detachment is at the heart of Buddhist wisdom. A story of true detachment. Many years ago, in a quiet village nestled between mountains, there lived an old monk named Master Ling. He was known for his unwavering calm and wisdom. One day, a frustrated young man approached him, angry at the world and bitter about his failures. "Old man," the young man shouted, "you are nothing but a foolish monk wasting your time with empty teachings. You think you're wise, but you're just an old fool." Master Ling looked at him with serene eyes and smiled gently. Instead of reacting, he calmly asked, "Young man, if someone offers you a gift, but you refuse to accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" The young man, caught off guard, hesitated before answering, "It still belongs to the giver, of course." Master Ling nodded. "And so, my friend, your anger and insults still belong to you, for I do not accept them." The young man stood in stunned silence, realizing that his words had no effect on the monk. He left that day with a valuable lesson: insults only have power over those who allow them to. Why do we suffer from insults? Most of us are deeply attached to our ego, the identity we construct based on our past experiences, achievements, and how others perceive us. When someone criticizes us, it feels like a personal attack on this constructed self. But in reality, words are just sounds in the air. Think about it: if a stranger yelled insults at you in a language you don't understand, would you feel hurt? Of course not. The insult itself isn't what causes pain, it's our interpretation and attachment that creates suffering. How to overcome the power of insults, a practical approach. 1. Pause before reacting. When you feel the sting of an insult, take a deep breath. Instead of responding immediately, give yourself space to detach from the emotional reaction. 2. Recognize the source. Understand that most insults come from a place of pain, insecurity, or misunderstanding in the person delivering them. Their words say more about them than about you. 3. Shift your perspective. Ask yourself, will this matter a year from now? 5 years from now? Most likely, it won't. 4. Practice the mirror technique. Imagine the insult as a reflection of the speaker's own struggles. Instead of absorbing the negativity, let it bounce off, just as a mirror reflects an image without holding onto it. 5. Strengthen your inner peace. Develop mindfulness through meditation and self-awareness practices. A calm mind is like a still lake. No matter how many stones are thrown, the surface quickly returns to tranquility. A personal story, learning to let go. I remember a time when a colleague criticized my work harshly in front of others. At that moment, I felt a surge of anger and embarrassment. My mind raced with thoughts of defending myself, proving my worth, and even retaliating with my own sharp words. But then, I remembered this principle. I paused and asked myself, do I want to carry this negativity with me? I took a deep breath and responded, I appreciate your feedback. I'll reflect on it. To my surprise, my calm response disarmed the situation. Instead of escalating, the conversation turned constructive. Later, that same colleague approached me privately and admitted that their harshness was due to stress in their personal life. I walked away with a deeper understanding. When you refuse to engage in negativity, you break the cycle. Final lesson, reclaiming your power. Every day, we are faced with criticism, judgment, and negativity. But you hold the power to decide what affects you. No one can make you feel inferior unless you give them permission. Take action now. The next time someone insults you, pause and take a breath before reacting. Remind yourself that their words are a reflection of them, not of you. Focus on your inner strength and peace rather than seeking external validation. Meditate daily to cultivate detachment and resilience. Let's start a discussion. Have you ever experienced a moment where you chose to let go of an insult rather than react? Share your story in the comments. By practicing this principle, you will transform not only your inner world but also how you interact with others. Remember, true strength is in knowing that nothing can shake your peace unless you allow it to. Principle 2. Everyone is a teacher. A farmer does not throw away an entire field just because of one weed. So why should we lose our peace over one unpleasant person? This was the question the Buddha once posed to a man who complained about his neighbor. By accepting that every person in our life appears for a reason, we can transform negative experiences into useful lessons. Story: a difficult neighbor. One day, a man came to the Buddha and complained, "Master, my neighbor is terrible. He is rude, difficult, and always tries to provoke me." The Buddha smiled and asked, "If a weed grows in a farmer's field, does he abandon the whole field?" The man shook his head. "Of course not. He removes the weed and continues tending to the rest." The Buddha said, "Then why lose your peace over one unpleasant person? See them as an opportunity to cultivate patience." The man suddenly realized that his neighbor was not the problem, it was his own reaction that created his suffering. The different types of teachers in life. 1. Kind people teach us compassion. They remind us that kindness is powerful and can spread to others. 2 difficult people train our patience. Oh, if no one ever tested us, how would we learn to control our emotions? 3 judgmental people teach us to let go. Oh, they remind us that other people's opinions do not define our worth. 4 wise individuals inspire us to become better. Oh, they help us expand our knowledge, stay on the right path, and grow. Personal story: learning from a tough boss. I once worked under a boss who was extremely demanding. No matter what I did, it was never good enough. Every day felt stressful, exhausting, and discouraging. I often thought, why do I have to deal with this person? But then, one day, I came across a simple but profound idea: you cannot change others, but you can change how you respond to them. I decided to see my boss differently as a teacher. He taught me to be more detail-oriented because he never accepted carelessness. He pushed me to develop resilience, as I had to stay calm under pressure. He forced me to become more patient because I could not change him, I could only change myself. Over time, I realized that I had grown tremendously thanks to these challenges. And surprisingly, when I changed my attitude, he also started treating me better. Lesson learned: when you change the way you see someone, your relationship with them changes, too. How to see everyone as a teacher. 1. Ask yourself, when dealing with a difficult person, ask, what can I learn from this? Perhaps they are teaching you patience, compassion, or forgiveness. 2. Accept that everyone has their own reasons. People act the way they do because of their own experiences, struggles, and pain. It is not about you. 3. Do not let emotions block your learning. Instead of reacting with anger or hurt, take a step back and observe. 4. Practice gratitude, even when it's hard. If someone hurts you, silently thank them for helping you build strength. Final lesson: change your perspective, change your life. Life is a series of lessons, and every person you meet brings something valuable to you. When you shift your perspective on people and situations, you will realize that the world is not against you, it is helping you grow. Take action now. Think of someone who annoys you. Ask yourself, what lesson are they teaching me? Instead of reacting negatively, try seeing them with gratitude. Share in the comments, who has taught you the most valuable lesson in life. When you begin to see everyone as a teacher, you will realize that every moment is an opportunity for growth. Remember, you cannot control how others behave, but you can control how you learn from them. And that is your greatest power. Principle 3: transform envy into admiration. Instead of feeling inferior when others succeed, Buddhism teaches us to admire and learn from them. Success is not a threat, it is proof that achievement is possible. When we see someone with qualities or accomplishments we admire, we should ask, what can I learn from this? Instead of feeling diminished, we can use their journey as motivation for our own. Story: the struggling artist. A young artist once approached a Zen master, filled with envy toward a fellow painter who had gained fame. I have worked just as hard, the artist said. Yet he is recognized, and I am not. Why does this feel so unfair? The master listened patiently and then pointed at 2 trees outside. One tree grows tall quickly, reaching the sky. The other grows slower, strengthening its roots. Is one tree better than the other? The artist shook his head. Then why compare? The master continued. Instead of seeing his success as a threat, see it as a lesson. Let his growth inspire your own. The artist took these words to heart, focusing not on competition, but on improving his craft. Over time, his work flourished not because he defeated his rival, but because he became his best self. Why do we feel envy? Envy arises from comparison. We look at what others have and feel as though we are lacking. But in reality, we don't see their full journey, only the result. We assume their success takes something away from us. It doesn't. We forget that everyone moves at their own pace. Instead of feeling jealous, ask yourself, what does this tell me about what I truly want? How to transform envy into admiration. 1. Identify the qualities you admire. Oh, if you envy someone's success, ask yourself, what specific qualities help them get there? Is it their discipline? Their courage? Their consistency? Oh, instead of resenting their strengths, develop those strengths in yourself. 2. See their success as proof that it's possible. Oh, when someone achieves something great, it's not a reason to feel less, it's evidence that success is achievable. Oh, let it inspire you rather than discourage you. 3. Turn jealousy into a learning opportunity. Oh, if someone has what you desire, study their journey. What did they do that you haven't done yet? What habits set them apart? Oh, use this as motivation to refine your own path. 4. Celebrate others' success genuinely. Oh, compliment them. Support them. By celebrating others, we create an abundance mindset. Oh, what we celebrate in others, we attract into our own lives. Personal story: overcoming professional jealousy. Years ago, I had a friend in the same industry who skyrocketed to success while I struggled. I couldn't help but feel envious. Every social media post of his achievements made me feel like I was falling behind. But then, I asked myself, why am I feeling this way? The answer was simple: I wanted success too. But instead of letting jealousy consume me, I studied what he did differently. He was consistent while I was sporadic. He took risks while I played it safe. He sought mentorship while I tried to do everything alone. I decided to shift my mindset. Instead of seeing him as a competitor, I saw him as proof that what I wanted was possible. I started working smarter, learning from him rather than resenting him. A few years later, I found my own success. Not because I tried to beat him, but because I focused on becoming the best version of myself. Lesson learned: envy is wasted energy, use it as fuel for growth. Final lesson: comparison is a guide, not a curse. If you ever feel envy creeping in, remember, it's a signal, not a sentence. It's showing you something you desire. Instead of feeling small, let it make you ambitious. Take action now. Think of someone you've envied recently. Ask yourself, what does their success teach me? List 3 qualities they have that you can develop in yourself. Instead of feeling resentful, choose to be inspired. Comment below, who has inspired you the most in life? When you transform envy into admiration, you stop seeing the world as a competition and start seeing it as a classroom. And that is where true success begins. Remember, another person's success does not take away from your own. Instead of comparing, focus on growing. That is the true path to fulfillment. Principle 4: be strict with yourself but tolerant of others. Discipline strengthens our character, while tolerance nurtures harmony. The Buddha emphasized that we should demand the best from ourselves but allow others the space to learn and grow at their own pace. Instead of forcing our expectations onto others, we should focus on self-improvement and leading by example. Story: the young monk's lesson. A young monk once criticized an older monk for being too relaxed in his practice. He believed that strict discipline was the only path to enlightenment. Seeing his frustration, the master took him to a grove of trees. "Look at the trees," The master said. Some stand tall and rigid, others bend with the wind. Which do you think survives the storm? The flexible ones, the young monk admitted. Exactly, the master nodded. If a tree is too rigid, it snaps. If it is too weak, it falls. Strength is not about being unyielding, but about knowing when to be firm and when to bend. The young monk understood, being strict with himself made him strong, but tolerance for others created balance. Why we struggle with this balance? It's natural to hold people to the same standards we set for ourselves. When others don't meet our expectations, frustration arises. But consider, everyone has a different journey. People grow at different speeds. We don't know their struggles. What seems like laziness may be a hidden battle. Judgment creates distance, while patience builds connections. Instead of demanding perfection from others, ask, how can I support them while staying true to my own values? How to practice discipline without judgment. 1. Set high standards for yourself, not others. Focus on improving yourself rather than criticizing those around you. Lead by example. People are more likely to follow your actions than your words. 2. Be firm in your values, but kind in your approach. Stick to your principles, but don't expect everyone to think or act like you. Encourage growth rather than enforcing expectations. 3. Pause before judging others. When someone disappoints you, take a breath and ask, what might they be going through? Compassion does not mean accepting mediocrity, it means understanding before reacting. 4. Practice tolerance as a strength, not weakness. Tolerance doesn't mean letting others take advantage of you, it means responding with patience and wisdom. Instead of frustration, offer guidance or silent support. Personal story, learning patience with a colleague. Years ago, I worked with a colleague who never met deadlines. I prided myself on discipline and efficiency, so his delays irritated me. One day, I confronted him. Instead of making excuses, he quietly said, I've been taking care of my sick mother. I'm exhausted. At that moment, I realized that I had been so focused on my own standards that I failed to see his struggle. From that day on, I maintained my work ethic but offered him understanding. I stopped judging and started supporting. Surprisingly, as I showed him patience, he began improving. Lesson learned, sometimes, what people need is not criticism, but compassion. Final lesson, strength and kindness must coexist. Discipline is necessary for self-growth, but tolerance is essential for harmony. If we are too rigid, we isolate ourselves. If we are too lenient, we lose our own standards. Take action now. Think of someone who frustrates you. Instead of judging, ask, what might they be going through? Lead by example. Be strong in your values but gentle in your expectations. Comment below, how do you balance discipline and compassion in your life? When we master this balance, we grow as individuals while creating deeper, more meaningful connections. And that is the path to true inner peace. Remember, be strict with yourself to build strength, but tolerant of others to build harmony. That is the way of wisdom. Principle 5, no one can hurt you unless you allow them to. The Buddha taught that external circumstances do not create suffering, our attachment and reaction to them do. When we internalize negativity, we give it power. But when we recognize that all emotions, like waves in the ocean, rise and fall, we gain the ability to remain undisturbed. Story, the water in the cup. A woman once came to the Buddha, troubled by the words of others. How do I stop feeling hurt by what people say? She asked. The Buddha handed her a cup of water. "Stir this water," he said. She did, and the water became murky and agitated. "Now, let it settle." As the water returned to stillness, the Buddha smiled. "Your mind is the same. Disturbance is temporary. If you let it pass, peace will return." The woman understood. Emotional pain is like ripples in water. It only lasts if we keep stirring it. Why do we feel hurt? Many of us believe that pain comes from what others say or do to us. But the truth is, our suffering comes from how we process and interpret those actions. Here's why we often feel hurt. Attachment to validation. We crave approval, so criticism feels like rejection. Ego identification. When we take things personally, we allow others' words to define us. Lack of emotional awareness. We react before we process, fueling unnecessary suffering. But once we realize that we control our reactions, we take back our power. How to free yourself from emotional pain. 1. Pause before reacting. Oh, when someone says something hurtful, resist the urge to respond immediately. Breathe. Give yourself space to process. 2. See their words as reflections of them, not you. Oh, hurtful words often come from their pain, not yours. People project their insecurities onto others. 3. Detach from external validation. Oh, you don't need approval to be at peace. When you stop seeking external validation, others' opinions lose their grip on you. 4. Ask yourself, will this matter in a year? Oh, most of what upsets us today will be irrelevant in the future. Let it go before it consumes your present. 5. Practice meditation and mindfulness. Oh, training your mind through meditation allows you to observe emotions without being controlled by them. Personal story, overcoming harsh criticism. Years ago, I experienced a situation where a close friend criticized me in front of others. At that moment, I felt a sharp sting of embarrassment and anger. My mind raced with thoughts of defending myself, proving them wrong, and even retaliating. But then, I remembered this principle. No one can hurt me unless I allow them to. Instead of reacting, I took a deep breath and asked myself, are their words a reflection of truth, or their own insecurities? Will this moment define my worth? Do I want to carry this pain with me, or let it go? I chose peace. Instead of arguing, I simply smiled and let the moment pass. To my surprise, the conversation shifted, and the tension disappeared. Later, my friend apologized, admitting they had been projecting their frustrations onto me. Lesson learned: when you don't react, negativity loses its power. Final lesson: protecting your inner peace. You are not responsible for the emotions of others, but you are responsible for your own. By mastering your reactions, you free yourself from unnecessary suffering. Take action now. Think of a time when someone's words hurt you. Ask yourself, did I allow those words to define me? Next time, pause before reacting. Choose peace over conflict. Comment below, how do you protect your peace when faced with negativity? When you realize that you control your inner world, no one can shake your peace. And that is true freedom. Remember, pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice. You hold the power to decide what affects you. Choose peace, and nothing can disturb you. Principle 6, accept what is and let go. Acceptance is not about giving up. It is about seeing reality clearly and choosing peace over resistance. When we resist life's challenges, we create unnecessary suffering. But when we accept what we cannot change, we open the door to inner peace. Story: The Monk and the River. Two monks were traveling together when they came across a river. A woman stood at the edge, unable to cross. The older monk, without hesitation, picked her up and carried her to the other side. The younger monk was shocked. Monks were forbidden from touching women. Hours later, as they continued their journey, the younger monk finally burst out, "How could you carry that woman? We are not supposed to touch women." The older monk smiled and said, "I set her down at the riverbank. Why are you still carrying her?" The younger monk realized his mistake. While the woman was physically gone, he had been carrying the burden of judgment and resistance in his mind. Why do we struggle to let go? Many of us hold on to things we cannot change because we seek control. Letting go feels like losing power, but in reality, clinging creates more suffering. We attach our identity to the past. We believe our pain defines us, making it hard to release. We fear the unknown. Accepting what is means stepping into uncertainty, which can feel uncomfortable. But when we learn to trust life's flow, we free ourselves from unnecessary suffering. How to cultivate acceptance and let go. 1. Recognize what you cannot change. Oh, not everything is within your control. Accepting this truth reduces frustration and brings peace. 2. Reframe challenges as lessons. Oh, instead of resisting difficulties, ask, what can I learn from this? Acceptance allows growth. 3. Stop replaying the past. Oh, dwelling on old wounds only keeps them alive. Choose to release the story and embrace the present. 4. Let go with compassion. Oh, whether it's past mistakes, broken relationships, or missed opportunities, forgive yourself and others. Holding on only weighs you down. 5. Practice mindfulness. Oh, stay present. When your mind clings to the past, gently bring it back to now. Meditation and deep breathing help train this awareness. Personal story, learning to let go of betrayal. Years ago, I experienced deep betrayal from a close friend. I replayed the situation over and over, thinking of what I should have said or done differently. The pain lingered, and I found myself unable to trust others. One day, I came across the story of the monk and the river. I asked myself, am I still carrying this pain, even though the situation is long over? The answer was yes. So, I made a choice to let it go. I stopped feeding the resentment and started focusing on my own healing. I forgave not for them, but for me. And in that moment, I felt a weight lift off my heart. Lesson learned: the past only has power if we keep carrying it. Final lesson: let go and find peace. Clinging to the past does not change it. Wishing for things to be different only fuels suffering. True peace comes from accepting life as it is and moving forward. Take action now. Think of something you have been holding onto. Ask yourself, is this pain helping me, or is it weighing me down? Make the choice to set it down, write it out, breathe deeply, and release it. Comment below, what is one thing you are choosing to let go of today? When you stop resisting and start accepting, life becomes lighter. And that is where true freedom begins. Remember, holding on to the past burdens only ourselves. Acceptance is the key to peace. Let go, and set yourself free. Principle 7. Live in harmony with nature. Everything in nature follows a rhythm: the rising and setting of the sun, the changing seasons, the ebb and flow of the tides. When we resist these natural cycles, we create struggle. But when we surrender to them, we find ease. Nature teaches us that impermanence is a fundamental truth. Just as the seasons change, so do our lives. Learning to embrace change rather than fight it is the essence of peace. Story: The bamboo's wisdom. A Zen master once observed a grove of bamboo swaying in the wind. He turned to his student and said, "Be like the bamboo, flexible, yet strong." The student, puzzled, asked, "But isn't strength about standing firm?" The master smiled. "When the storm comes, the rigid trees break, but the bamboo bends and survives." True strength is not in resisting, but in adapting. The student understood, the more we try to control life, the more we suffer. But when we flow with it, we remain unshaken. Why do we struggle to live in harmony with nature? Many of us feel disconnected from nature because we resist change. We want things to stay the same, but life is constantly evolving. We impose rigid expectations. Instead of flowing with life, we try to control it. We neglect rest and renewal. Just as nature has cycles of activity and rest, we must honor our own need for balance. When we ignore these natural rhythms, we experience stress, burnout, and frustration. But when we learn to align with them, we move through life with greater ease. How to align with nature's flow. 1. Embrace change as natural. Oh, just as the seasons shift, so will your life. See change as growth, not loss. 2. Find your own rhythm. Oh, observe when you feel most energetic and when you need rest. Honor these cycles instead of forcing productivity. 3. Spend time in nature. Oh, walk barefoot on the earth, listen to the wind, observe the sky. Nature heals and grounds us. 4. Let go of control. Oh, the river doesn't fight the current, it flows with it. Release resistance and trust life's process. 5. Practice stillness. Oh, just as a tree stands firm yet flexible, find moments of stillness amidst movement. Meditation and deep breathing help cultivate this inner stability. Personal story, learning to flow like the river. Years ago, I went through a difficult period where everything in my life felt uncertain. I fought hard to maintain control, trying to force things to happen on my timeline. The more I resisted, the more exhausted I became. One day, while sitting by a river, I watched how effortlessly the water moved around rocks and obstacles. It didn't resist, it simply found another path. In that moment, I realized my struggle came not from my circumstances, but from my refusal to flow with them. I decided to surrender. Instead of forcing life to fit my expectations, I started trusting its natural course. I let go of rigid timelines, released unnecessary worries, and embraced uncertainty as part of the journey. Lesson learned: when we stop resisting life and start moving with it, everything becomes easier. Final lesson: surrender to nature's wisdom. Nature operates in perfect balance. The sun rises and sets without effort. The waves crash and recede without resistance. When we align with this natural flow, we find peace. Take action now. Spend 10 minutes in nature today. Observe, breathe, and feel connected. Reflect on where in your life you are resisting change. Can you let go? Comment below, what lesson has nature taught you? When we stop fighting against life and start flowing with it, we become unshaken like the bamboo, flexible yet strong. That is the path to true harmony. Remember, surrender to life's natural flow, and peace will follow. Principle 8. Ethical living brings peace. Ethical living is about being true to yourself and acting in a way that brings no harm to others. When we choose honesty over deception, kindness over selfishness, and responsibility over negligence, we cultivate a life free from guilt and inner conflict. When our actions align with our values, our minds remain clear, and our hearts remain light. Story: The Businessman's Awakening. A wealthy businessman built his empire through deception and manipulation. To the world, he appeared successful, but every night, he lay awake, tormented by fear and regret. He constantly worried about being exposed, betrayed, or losing everything he had built on dishonesty. One day, he sought the guidance of a Buddhist monk. "I have everything," he admitted, "but I feel empty inside. Why do I suffer?" The monk handed him a heavy sack of stones. "Carry this for a while," he said. The businessman struggled under the weight, barely able to move. "Why are you giving me this burden?" he asked. The monk smiled. "The burden you feel is no different from the weight of your dishonest actions. If you want to be free, you must let go of the stones." Realizing the truth, the businessman began running his company with integrity. He became transparent in his dealings, treated his employees fairly, and gave back to the community. Over time, his inner turmoil faded, and for the first time in years, he slept peacefully. Lesson learned: ethical living removes the weight of inner conflict and brings true freedom. Why do people stray from ethical living? Many people compromise their values because they believe dishonesty leads to success. But any success built on lies is fragile. They fear short-term loss. Integrity may seem difficult at first, but it leads to lasting peace. They think no one will notice. But even if the world doesn't see, the mind knows, and guilt follows. However, Buddhism teaches that karma, the law of cause and effect, ensures that every action eventually returns to us. When we act ethically, we create positive karma that leads to peace and fulfillment. How to cultivate ethical living? 1. Commit to honesty in all things. Speak truthfully, even when it's difficult. A moment of discomfort is better than a lifetime of regret. 2. Treat others with kindness and fairness. Success means nothing if it comes at the cost of another's suffering. Lead with compassion. 3. Align actions with values. Ask yourself, if my choices were made public, would I still be proud? If not, choose differently. 4. Let go of past mistakes. If you've made unethical choices, acknowledge them, make amends, and move forward. Growth is always possible. 5. Surround yourself with ethical people. The company you keep influences your values. Choose relationships that encourage integrity. Personal story: a test of integrity. Years ago, I was offered a lucrative business deal. The opportunity was tempting, but there was a catch: the deal required bending the truth. I rationalized it, telling myself, everyone does it. But deep inside, I knew it was wrong. I imagined the consequences. Would I be able to look at myself in the mirror? Would I feel at peace? I chose to walk away. At first, I feared I had lost a great opportunity. But weeks later, an even better deal came along, one that aligned with my values. I realized then that integrity is never a weakness, it is our greatest strength. Lesson learned: doing the right thing may feel hard in the moment, but it always leads to something greater. Final lesson: peace comes from integrity. No amount of wealth or success can replace inner peace. When we live ethically, we remove the burdens of guilt, fear, and regret. Take action now. Reflect on a recent decision. Did it align with your values? Identify one area where you can improve your integrity. Comment below: what does ethical living mean to you? True peace is not found in material success but in knowing that we have lived honorably. And that is the foundation of a meaningful life. Remember, living with integrity removes inner conflict. Choose honesty, choose kindness, and peace will follow. Principle 9: Practice gratitude. Gratitude changes everything. It turns what we have into enough, and what we experience into lessons. When we embrace gratitude, we stop chasing happiness outside ourselves and realize it has been within us all along. Story: The Candle and the Poor Man. A poor man once approached the Buddha, lamenting his struggles. "I have nothing," he said. "My life is filled with hardship." The Buddha handed him a candle and asked, "What do you see?" "I see the light," the man replied. The Buddha nodded. "Even in darkness, there is light. Your suffering exists because you only focus on what is missing, rather than what is present." The man understood his lack was not in his circumstances, but in his perception. Lesson learned: gratitude does not come from having more, but from seeing what is already there. Why do we struggle with gratitude? Many people find it hard to feel grateful because they compare themselves to others. Social media, society, and personal expectations make us feel we are always falling short. They focus on what's missing. Instead of appreciating what is good, they dwell on what they don't have. They take things for granted. The small blessings, health, love, safety, often go unnoticed until they are gone. But when we shift our perspective, we realize that gratitude is not about what we have, it's about how we see. How to cultivate gratitude in daily life. 1. Start a gratitude journal. Every day, write down 3 things you are grateful for. Over time, this rewires your brain to focus on abundance rather than lack. 2. Express appreciation to others. Tell someone why you appreciate them. Gratitude strengthens relationships and spreads positivity. 3. Find gratitude in challenges. Even in hardship, there is growth. Ask yourself, what is this teaching me? 4. Practice mindful gratitude. Throughout the day, pause and appreciate small moments: a warm meal, a kind gesture, a beautiful sunset. 5. Turn complaints into appreciation. Instead of saying, "I have to do this," say, "I get to do this." Reframing situations shifts your entire mindset. Personal story: learning to appreciate what I have. There was a time when I constantly compared myself to others. No matter what I achieved, it never felt like enough. I would scroll through social media, seeing others travel, succeed, and celebrate, while feeling like my own life was lacking. Then, one day, I came across the Buddha's teaching on gratitude. I decided to try something simple. Every morning, I wrote down 3 things I was grateful for. At first, they were small: my morning coffee, the sound of birds, a conversation with a friend. But over time, something changed. I started noticing more beauty in everyday life. I felt lighter, happier, more fulfilled. I realized that I had been chasing happiness outside of myself, when it had been within me all along. Lesson learned: gratitude is not about getting more, it's about seeing more. Final lesson: gratitude transforms your reality. Happiness does not come from what we own, but from how we see. When we practice gratitude, we shift from lack to abundance, from dissatisfaction to peace. Take action now. Write down 3 things you are grateful for today. Express appreciation to someone in your life. Comment below, what is something you often take for granted but are grateful for today? When we choose gratitude, we choose happiness. And that is the most powerful transformation of all. Remember, gratitude shifts focus from lack to abundance. The more you appreciate, the more you realize you already have enough. Principle 10. Trust the process and let go of control. Life is like a river constantly flowing, shifting, and changing. When we resist, we struggle. When we flow with it, we move effortlessly. Trying to control life is like trying to stop the river, it only leads to frustration. Story: The Fisherman and the River. A fisherman was caught in a strong current. Panicked, he fought against the flow, exhausting himself. An old man on the shore called out, "Stop fighting. Let go and flow with the river, and it will carry you safely." The fisherman, too tired to resist any longer, relaxed his body and allowed the water to carry him. To his surprise, he floated smoothly to shore. By letting go, he found safety. Lesson learned: life flows more smoothly when we stop resisting. Why do we struggle to let go? Many of us resist letting go because we fear uncertainty. Not knowing what comes next makes us anxious. We equate control with security. We believe controlling everything will prevent pain. We are attached to outcomes. We think things must happen in a specific way to be happy. But the truth is, life is unpredictable. The only certainty is change. When we release the need to control, we open ourselves to possibilities greater than we imagined. How to let go and trust life. 1. Recognize what you cannot control. Make a list of things outside your control: other people's actions, the past, the future. Accepting this reduces anxiety. 2. Shift from resistance to acceptance. Instead of fighting reality, ask, "How can I work with this situation," rather than against it. 3. Practice surrender in small ways. Let someone else choose the restaurant. Go a day without checking your schedule. Small acts of surrender help build trust in the process. 4. Embrace uncertainty as a path to growth. Uncertainty is where possibilities exist. Instead of fearing it, welcome it as an adventure. 5. Use meditation to cultivate trust. Meditation teaches us to let go of thoughts, expectations, and control, helping us embrace the present moment. Personal story: learning to surrender during a crisis. A few years ago, I faced a major life challenge. Everything I had planned fell apart: work, relationships, financial stability. My instinct was to fight against reality, to try and force things back into place. The more I resisted, the more anxious I became. One night, I sat by a lake, watching the ripples form and disappear. I realized that water never resists, it simply flows. That moment changed me. I stopped fighting. I accepted what was. I let go of my rigid expectations. And suddenly, new opportunities arose, ones I never could have planned. By trusting the process, I found my way. Lesson learned: life often unfolds in ways we do not expect, but when we surrender, we make space for something better. Final lesson: freedom in letting go. Trying to control everything only leads to frustration. The key to peace is trust. When we let go, we allow life to guide us to where we need to be. Take action now. Identify one thing you are trying to control. Ask yourself, what would happen if I let go? Practice trusting the process today. Breathe, release, and allow things to unfold. Comment below, what is one area of life where you struggle to let go? When we stop grasping and start flowing, life becomes lighter. And that is the essence of true peace. Remember, control is an illusion. Trust life, surrender to its flow, and peace will follow. Title: 10 Buddhist Principles to Achieve Unshakable Inner Peace. Introduction: The Power of Inner Peace. Have you ever wondered, what if nothing could disturb your peace? What if criticism no longer shook you, challenges no longer scared you, and life's chaos no longer pulled you into suffering. Modern life is an endless cycle of stress, work, family, relationships, and the constant expectations placed upon us by society. Sometimes, it feels like you're running a race without knowing where the finish line is. But imagine if you could face every challenge with a calm, steady mind, untouched by external circumstances. This is not just a distant dream. It is a state of mind you can achieve, and it is exactly what Buddhism teaches us. Buddhism is not just a religion, it is a profound system of thought that helps you discover true peace from within, regardless of what happens around you. These principles do not ask you to abandon your current life or escape reality. Instead, they help you transform how you perceive the world, how you respond to difficulties, and how you maintain serenity even in the middle of life's storms. In this guide, we will explore 10 Buddhist principles that can profoundly change your life. These are not abstract theories but practical methods you can apply immediately to. Heavy checkmark: remain unaffected by criticism and judgment. Heavy checkmark: face challenges without losing your balance. Heavy checkmark: transform envy and resentment into positive motivation. Heavy checkmark: let go of what you cannot control and experience true freedom. Heavy checkmark: live a life filled with gratitude, happiness, and tranquility. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to stay calm even in the most difficult situations? It's not luck, it's mental training. Buddhism has taught these principles for thousands of years, and today, modern science also confirms that these practices can significantly reduce stress, improve focus, and lead to a more meaningful life. The real question is, are you ready to change the way you see life? If your answer is yes, then this guide is for you. Join me on this journey to discover 10 principles that can help you achieve unshakable inner peace. Let's begin. Conclusion: mastering inner peace. After exploring these 10 Buddhist principles, one thing becomes clear: inner peace is not something we find, it is something we cultivate. It is not about eliminating problems or avoiding challenges, but about changing how we respond to them. True peace comes from within, and by applying these principles, you can create a life that is unshakable, no matter what happens around you. These principles teach us to heavy checkmark: detach from negativity and not let external forces dictate our emotions. Heavy checkmark: see every person and situation as a teacher, guiding us toward wisdom and growth. Heavy checkmark: shift from resistance to acceptance, allowing life to flow naturally. Heavy checkmark: live with gratitude and mindfulness, appreciating the present moment. Heavy checkmark: trust the process of life instead of trying to control everything. The beauty of these teachings is that they are not just for monks or spiritual seekers, they are for everyone. You don't need to change your entire life to apply them. You just need to change your mindset. Now, I invite you to take action. Which of these principles resonated with you the most? What is one small step you can take today to bring more peace into your life? Let's continue this conversation. Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you found this guide valuable, consider supporting this journey by liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. By doing so, you help spread wisdom and inspire more people to find their own inner peace. This is just the beginning. In our next video, we'll dive deeper into practical Buddhist techniques for daily life, how to integrate mindfulness, meditation, and conscious living into your routine. So stay tuned, and let's walk this path together. Remember, peace is not found outside of you, it is built within. The more you nurture it, the stronger it becomes. Let go, trust the process, and embrace the serenity that is already within you. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.